Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. If I can invite all of our college leaders to turn on their cameras. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, we hope everyone's doing well. This is our second Smart Stark event. We are so excited. We are joined today by our many amazing college and university leaders from across Stark County and beyond. So welcome everybody, welcome students, welcome parents, welcome educators. This event, Smart Stark, is an attempt for us to share all of the amazing educational resources that are available to us in our community. So we welcome all of you. My name is Rishu Mahalha. I am one of the team members of the Strengthening Stark effort. Strengthening Stark is a community-wide movement to help bring our amazing resources across the county, whether it's in education, with our businesses, our elected officials, figuring out how we can bring all of our partners together to improve the lives of our citizens in Stark County. So that's what Strengthening Stark is all about. And we very much appreciate all of the leaders that have joined us today to share with us what programs, resources, educational opportunities are available to us across Stark County. Before we invite our various panelists to speak, I would like to just advise on a few housekeeping notes. I will share with you once again our screen. So if you see so if you can see the screen on there, you will see a student survey form. If you're a parent, if you're a student, please take a moment to fill the survey out. It shouldn't take you more than a minute. There will be a survey before the event, and then there will be a survey afterwards. And it's really a way for us to identify what you're getting out of this kind of an experience. Is this helpful? It gives us an opportunity to understand ways in which we can structure this program better in the future. So hopefully this can be as valuable for you as possible. So please take a look at that survey link and update that. One second. Very cool. Next, I'd like to just share with you the agenda for today. So our agenda is really quick. We're going to be doing a finance overview I know financials are really important topic of concern. How does one pay for college? What financial resources are available? So we'll spend some time talking about some of the financial strategies that are available to you. Then we will have each one of our college leaders share a quick background about their college, their university, what it's like to attend the schools, and then we will wrap it up. As we're going through it, please take a moment to enter any questions you have on the Facebook site. So on Facebook Live, if you've joined us there, you can type in your questions. We're monitoring those questions. Our college leaders will be on there as well. They'll be answering some of your questions live. And if we have time, we will certainly be fielding the questions during our session. And then afterwards as well, we will stick around to answer any questions that may be helpful. I do want to take a moment to identify just one or two key resources that are available to you in Stark County. And we are an incredibly fortunate community because we actually have tools and resources that are not available just about in any other part of our county. So one platform that I'd like to share with you briefly is this platform right here. It's called, one second, sure. So the platform is called www.strengtheningstarkmeansjobs.com. And the platform allows us to see what are the different jobs, occupations that are available to us in the community. So I highly encourage our local citizens to go visit it. You can look at some really interesting information, such as, I'll just point out a handful of specific areas. So you can play with the site, but if you were to spend just a few minutes on, for example, jobs by industry and explore some career options here, you'll be able to see overall how many jobs do we have in the county, what does the jobs pattern look like. So this is one way to do that, and all this information is clickable. So as you click on different occupation, you can click on employers. Underneath it, you can see the specific jobs that are also available to you. So I just want to make you aware that these resources are available to you. And with that, we'll invite our first speaker to join us. And our first speaker is Denisha Newby. She's with University of Akron, and she'll be sharing with us some information on how to think about college finances. Denisha is with University of Akron. Denisha, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here today. Hopefully I will be able to give you some tips about the college process as a whole, as far as applying for aid, and different tips that you can use to make your experience more affordable. All right. First, my contact information should be viewing here, and it'll be later on as well. So definitely, if you have some questions after this presentation, not just with information about University of Akron, but as financial aid as a whole, I'll be more than happy to try to help you through those questions and the process. And later on, we will have a bit of time for question and answer. So I do want to start off with one way that parents and students can make the whole process more affordable is applying for different types of outside scholarships. So not only would the scholarships be through your institution of choice, this might be through other outside organizations, businesses that you're aware of. Even this organization that you're having the presentation through has wonderful resources for you to look for different scholarships. The nice thing about scholarships, especially if you get them outside of your college of choice, you can take that to any institution. So that's kind of leverage that you have to help it make it more affordable. So as you're viewing or comparing different institutions, knowing that you have this outside scholarship from the Kiwanis Club or your high school for $2,000 or $3,000 helps with your own bottom line. So also when you're applying for different colleges, they usually have some type of application process for their different types of scholarships, whether it's in your particular major, maybe it's an area of interest that you have, whether it's ROTC or band or through the nursing society or whatever that is. So definitely look into these resources. Most times they are listed on the financial aid page for that individual institution. Again, looking your high school guidance counselors usually back in January started that process of listing different local scholarships that you might be eligible for, looking into your not only your employer, let's say you have a job that you did, but your parents' employer. Sometimes they have different resources for their students to help them with the college accessibility. So really a lot of our students help to supplement those expenses by using different scholarships. Not only can scholarships be used for tuition, but let's say for books and supplies at times, if you're staying on campus or off campus with your living, transportation of going back and forth if you do choose to commute. So scholarships are a great resource. At the bottom, I did list a few outside sites that you can look at. My only tip is never to pay for a scholarship search, because my thought is if they're trying to give you funds, then they're not going to charge you a fee to apply for that scholarship. Also, just be sure that you are aware of the requirements of that particular scholarship, whether it's maintaining a GPA or writing a thank you letter or being in a certain major. So make sure you're aware of the requirements of that particular scholarship. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the different types of aid. So there are many types of aid, and I started with scholarships because that's the one that people look for the most for outside places. The other type of gift aid, we call it, are grants. So these are awarded by the federal and state government, and we're going to talk about how do you apply for these in the next slide or two. Both the nice thing about grants and scholarships is it's money that you don't have to pay back. So of course you want as much of that gift aid or free money as that you can get. So definitely applying for the scholarships, applying for the grants, and I'll tell you about how to do that, the grants part in a slide or so. The other type of aid is what we call self-help. So this has a portion that maybe you have to do something for. So work programs, that's where you maybe have a biweekly paycheck from a job you go to. You maybe work 10 hours a week. Maybe it's on campus in your advising office or in your dorm, or it might be off campus at, a local store or community organization. So some students use that to supplement as well the cost. So maybe they sign up for a payment plan at the end, they have a small bit left. They use that employment not only to help with their bill possibly, but for books and other living expenses. Federal loans, which, definitely this is the last thing that you do want to use, but they are an option and they are offered to all students at a low or no interest rate. Most times your institution will tell you exactly what you're eligible for. If there's another involvement, such as a parent applying for an additional loan to help you pay the difference. And then there are also private loans, but usually your institution will offer you that information kind of towards the end. So once everything else is exhausted. I just had this up here so that you can know those types of programs and what they mean and the stipulations of them. So this is a way that some families do have to or use to supplement that bottom line cost. So how do you apply for aid? So of course, scholarships are through the different institutions or organizations, but generally a big source of aid is through the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. And I emphasize free. So you would actually go on to student aid or studentaid.gov, and then you click on start here to apply for the FAFSA. This is something that's normally done each year. The student creates the account, and then the parent does also have to include their information in most cases. Again, this is a free form, and that's why I emphasize that. So there are some sites that charge you a fee. That's not the federal site. When you are doing the FAFSA form, you do have to create a username and password. So they kind of walk you through that step, and it's something that's your signature that you'll use for the rest of your time using federal aid. When you're doing the FAFSA form, so these are for students, generally you start this your student's senior year. So for most of you, this is right about now, if you haven't done this already. It uses what's called the prior year tax information. And I'll speak about that in a moment, especially if you've had a change. So basically it's using the income from 2018. This is the student's tax information and the parent tax information if you filed or didn't file. It just asks you for those numbers. It also will ask about asset information as well. So the form really tries to walk you through that process about what you need. And normally, if you have questions about it, you can reach out to me or another financial aid administrator. We could try to help you with that. Quickly, just in case, so that you know, after you submit it, let's say you say, well, 2018, that was a really good year, but things have totally changed now. After you complete the FAFSA form and you list the schools on there that you want it sent to, you should contact that particular school, and they usually have some type of form because things have changed that you can report that updated information. So, and this is not only now during all that we're going through, but this is even in the future. If you've had a change, definitely contact your financial aid administrator to help you with that. So the other things that students and families can do to kind of help them with covering the cost, again, work programs, most institutions have some type of payment plan. So they don't say, hey, walk on campus and give us $2,000. They usually can break it up into smaller payments for you, or you can apply, as we talked about before, certain loan products to help you. And the other thing about these loans is normally you don't have to pay them while the student's in school. You can defer payments. Interest does occur on some of them though, but if that later on might be a little bit of better timing for you to start paying off those loans. Again, scholarships really help defer the cost for out of pocket for families. just quickly, kind of so that you know the process and how it kind of flows. So the student and the parent are completing the FAFSA form. You're listing what institutions you want on that FAFSA form, and then it sends it directly to that school. The school will get the information, they process it, they might ask for extra forms. If they do, just simply send them back. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong, or they don't believe you, or there's questions about it. Some of them we just have to verify, just kind of for, just to making sure everything is kind of in line and the process is working how it's supposed to. From there, the student should receive some type of notification from that institution. So some institutions mail it, some send them an email, some request that they actually log in. And it tells them about any awards, whether it's scholarships, grants, loans, work programs. That should be all listed in that offer notification. Just to kind of quickly give you some other helpful websites that maybe you could take a picture of or look to later. Again, studentaid.gov is the main site that you could apply for the FAFSA form, apply for parent loans, do many things. There's tons of calculators out there to help you say, okay, if I do choose to take this loan, what will I actually owe back? College Board has great scholarship opportunities out there. Same thing with FastWeb. Again, look at your individual institutions' web pages as well, because they will post things about outside scholarships that they might be aware of. And really kind of stay in communication and contact with them so that you know what opportunities they have. So I think that's the majority of it. I know we might have some questions out there, but just basically be sure that you are keeping in contact with your institution to see what resources and opportunities are actually out there, and staying aware and really making it a family decision, telling family members that this is where you want to go, this is what you're looking at, see if they can help you. They might see scholarship opportunities that you're not sure or you don't know about. So that's one thing I do also suggest to students, is to talk to family members about the process and maybe if they see scholarship opportunities for you.
Tanisha, thank you so much. Are there any questions that came in? Gary, I was looking at the chat room as well. I didn't see a whole lot. Anything else that comes to mind?
No, there was some positive support, but no questions at this time.
Great. Tanisha, you did an amazing job explaining all the financial opportunities. So thank you.
All right, thank you. And then next, do you want me to go on about specifically University of Akron?
That'd be great.
All right. So specifically about the University of Akron, just a bit about us. Hopefully, you're pretty aware of the great things that the university has and does. We have about 19,000 students, tons of states, about 46 states that are encompassing our student body, multiple countries. And so we really have a diverse sense of student population, faculty, staff here. It's a very traditional college experience, but everyone can make it sort of their own. So we have tons of majors, nursing, engineering, and different ones that you can actually develop on your own. We have relationships with about 7,000 different employers and partners who also help with that college experience. So let's say you want to do an internship, externship, you want to co-op, you want to shadow. We have tons of resources out there to help you with that, because I know sometimes when you're starting this process, you're not exactly sure. You hear about what that job is, but you don't know exactly what it entails. So we try to partner with our community so that you can really get a sense of, yes, this is the wonderful fit for me and I can move forward. Many of our students do also receive scholarships. We have what's called the Akron Guarantee Scholarship. So about 70% of our student body actually was awarded that particular scholarship. The unique thing about that is it grows as you move further into your career towards graduation. So it's a little bit unique with the University of Akron. We also have tons of clubs and organizations that you can be a part of if you have areas of interest. And this also enhances your educational outlook in career. So you're not only maybe seeking a personal career, but you also have a professional, and they all come together to make you a great prospective candidate in the future of getting hired. 92% of our recent graduates were not only employed or continue their education within the 6 months of graduating. So I think that's a great thing to be able to say and do. So we really try hard with our career services and with our partners to make sure that students are not only finishing their degree or whatever degree they choose, but that they are moving forward to their next step. Definitely look at our Facebook page, uakron.edu, for virtual tours. I know you can't necessarily come on campus right now, and we missed that, but we're also trying to do different things so that you can see what the atmosphere is, what the dorms look like, to have chats with our different departments, because they're talking individually about the things that they're doing, how they're growing and progressing, and how they're continuing to reach students. So that's basically University of Akron.
Denisha, great job. We do have a couple questions that came in here in regards to financial aid.
Yes.
With the 529 plan, does that factor into the financial aid or scholarship opportunities?
So the 529 plans don't factor necessarily into scholarship opportunities. Scholarships are generally kind of in their separate bucket. As far as 529 plans, there are cases depending upon whose name it's in, because there can be different people who have custody of that information, but there are cases where they do ask for some of that information. But generally, no, it's just it's a great resource to have and use. And again, that extra thing that you have in your pocket for later on. I personally use 529 plans, and it was a great supplement when I did for my son.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Was that it?
Yes, that was it.
Perfect. Thank you, Denisha. Thanks, Gary. Next up, we have Hannah Reese with Mount Union. Hannah, welcome. Love to hear about what Mount Union has to offer our students.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Hannah Reese. I'm an admission counselor at Mount Union. I work with a lot of Stark County high schools, so I may have met some of you when I came to visit your high school, or if you've been on campus with us before. But much like Denisha just did, I'm going to give you a really fast and pretty overarching rundown of Mount Union, hopefully to hit on some things that maybe you might not know or maybe new, and just spark your interest so that we can kind of continue that search. We are an alliance. If, like I said, you've never been on campus with us before, we are a traditional liberal arts 4-year private institution, home to about 2,000 undergraduate students. Our student body often says that they feel the institution is large enough that they're engaging with new students socially and having those opportunities for a bigger environment, but in that academic setting, still getting that one-on-one attention and the challenges and support that they need academically. We offer 56 different majors. Our most popular or big ones, as we always get asked, are engineering, education, nursing, psychology, and neuroscience, and then of course, sport business. All of our majors are very experiential based, so more doing than just sitting in a classroom for traditional lecture and test. On average, our undergraduate students have somewhere between 2 and 3 internships during their undergraduate experience. Because of this, we have a really high job placement rating in continuing education. More than 90% of our grads are in employment or graduate school within 2 months of graduation, which is about a month ahead of the national average. So really good opportunities there, not only for your education, but to start your life as a young professional. While we're able to offer a really phenomenal academic and social experience for our students, we also want it to be an affordable option for families from all backgrounds. So within the last couple of years, we've implemented a lot of initiatives to make this a reality. Currently, we sit about 11% lower in annual cost of attendance than other private institutions. And that's because we've added a really diverse range of scholarship opportunities for students. So those include things like esports, a competitive video game team, you can earn a scholarship, cheer, dance, visual and performing arts, so theater, marching band, those types of things. Of course, Academics, we have extended our academic scholarships to be test optional. So in the past, if you feel like, oh, I didn't do so great on the ACT or the SAT, I'm not going to qualify for a scholarship. Certainly not going to be the case anymore. We know you may not even have access to take those tests. So we've moved to a test optional option for those merit-based scholarships. And then of course, our biggest one that has impacted so many of our Stark County students is our Pell Opportunity. This is basically Mount Union offering to cover any gap left for you after your merit-based scholarship in your cost of tuition to attend Mount Union. So many students who elect to commute in the Stark County area are attending Mount Union this fall for no out-of-pocket cost while they're in school, which is really exciting. My last point I'll hit on, I think I'm kind of short on time, is much like Denisha again just said, we want to connect with you virtually until we can have you back out on campus again. So check out the website. You can Skype with current students, professors, myself, financial aid, whoever it may be that you have questions for on campus. We can definitely help you make those connections. Just visit the website.
Thank you, Hannah. Appreciate that update.
Absolutely.
Gary, any questions that we have for Hannah?
No questions for Hannah at this time. Great job, Hannah. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And as more questions come in, we'll certainly send them out to the group here. All right, next up we have from Malone University, Ezra Ketch. Ezra, welcome. Would love to hear about what Malone has to offer.
Thanks, Rashu. Like I was mentioned here before, thank you everyone for being here on the live stream, and definitely take advantage of those questions. We're all happy to answer. So my name is Ezra Ketch. I'm an undergraduate admissions counselor at Malone University. Work predominantly with all the local school districts here in Stark County, and originally not a native of Stark County, so it's been really cool just to get adapted more to the area over the last few years being here. So at Malone, we are a small private liberal arts Christian institution. Our tagline is Christ's Kingdom First, and we're also the self-proclaimed Canton's University. We're right just 6 blocks off from the Pro Football Hall of Fame on Cleveland Avenue. And we have a number of majors, probably the most significant and ones that I know a number of Stark County students are familiar with. It's our School of Nursing. We've had a high pass rate as far as students graduating and then sitting for the licensure exam, the NCLEX. The last 2 years running, we've had a 100% pass rate on that exam. So super proud of those nursing students. Our School of Business and Leadership, also in conjunction with our sports management program, would be our second largest as far as headcount goes. After the School of Education, a ton of education majors. And then most uniquely is our Zoo and Wildlife Biology program, specifically catering to those students who want to work in the zoo industry or specifically in zoology / research-based opportunities. Probably one of the most unique things is we do have a small zoo on campus that students work with their freshman and sophomore years, just to get more familiar with animal handling. We do a lot of middle school educational shows with those students as well to kind of give them more comfortable with actually doing presentations. And the new initiative we launched this year is the Pendle Hill Pledge, named after the supposed Pendle Hill over in Great Britain, where one of the founding members of the Quaker movement had sort of that aha moment, where he kind of had the enlightenment of what he wanted to do with his life. And at Malone, that's kind of what we're putting a name to as far as the mentorship that we're doing with our students to kind of give them those opportunities. Like myself, I came in undecided and then ended up majoring in business and history to kind of have that opportunity to say, wow, this is totally what I want to do with my life and not aimlessly kind of wander. And I can speak for a number of institutions here in Stark County. The career development services is something we really do emphasize. I think there's this misperception that you're just kind of thrown to the wolves. You graduate from high school, you show up on a college campus, and then you kind of have to figure it on your own. And that's really not the case. I know my experience was very much, if I had a question, it was always very clear who I needed to go to, and people were happy to help. Along with that, we are at NCAA Division II for athletics. We're in the Great Mid-Atlantic Conference. And most notably, our cross country and track is pretty good. As far as financial aid goes, one of the big things that we do have is our Stark County Scholars Program for those students who are maybe needing some additional help for those folks who graduated from a Stark County institution. And then, like Hannah had mentioned, and so forth, we're happy to assess your financial aid situation. Definitely fill out that FAFSA. That's really key. One other quick point, just to highlight, is if your mom or dad has lost a job. I've worked with a number of students here in the last couple of weeks. We do have a special circumstance. I know all the institutions here, panelists, they're happy to speak to that. So if your financial aid situation has changed since you filled out the FAFSA, reach out to those institutions you're looking at as far as attending, and more than happy to address that. And just to highlight, through the pandemic, it's been pretty remarkable how quickly faculty and students have adapted to the online platform and learning. So much so, we're actually looking to incorporate hybrid sort of opportunities in future. Hearing a lot of really good feedback from our current students. So throw it back to you, Rashu.
Ezra, thank you so much. Appreciate your thoughts and comments. And I noticed there was a question that came in for Mount. Gary, do you want to ask that question?
Yes, there was a question for Hannah about the in regards to the sports business major at Mount Union.
Yeah.
Could you expand maybe on that major, the sports business major at Mount Union?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really cool major. Our department chair and his two associates have a background in Olympic sport, professional sport. And what they've done is developed a program where whether you want to be in event management, ticket sales, any avenue of sport, they're going to help you build that career with a really strong business mindset, but then develop it around how it pertains to sport as well.
Great. Thank you so much for expanding on that.
Yeah.
Great. We're running just a couple of minutes ahead. I just wanted to go back and share one point, which we didn't want to miss on. So if you can see our screen, there's a quote that we shared here, which is, I know there's a lot of families, a lot of students who have had to reconsider their plans for the fall. We just wanted to highlight the sort of broader sentiment around upskilling, education, training. And so we just found this quote in an article in the Forbes, which said, to be successful, we all need to get comfortable with the notion that we will all be lifelong learners. And we will need to be open to ongoing skill sharpening or even entirely reskilling as we progress. And I just wanted to highlight the whole reason behind this particular conversation that's taking place is to make sure that our citizens, Stark County, have an understanding of all the incredible training, learning, upskilling, ongoing education opportunities that are available to us. We are incredibly unique in the form that we have 6-7 major higher educational opportunities, institutions right in our backyard. And as you've seen, hopefully by now, each one of these institutions has a unique bend to how they think about ongoing education, where they specialize. And in current times, all of our partners are really looking to find ways to be an asset to our families, to our students. And so one of the themes that we've talked a lot about, these educational leaders, is they want to figure out how to best serve you. And so if you have questions, if you have thoughts, please keep throwing them at us on Facebook. But even as we wrap up, we will all of our college leaders will be sharing their contact information on the Facebook site. So please do reach out to them, because we're really blessed to have such an array of programming as we have. So again, I just wanted to put a quick plug there for our partners, and we thank everything that they're doing, and we'll keep moving. Next up, we have from Walsh University, Griffey Gertie. Griffey, we'd love to hear about what Walsh University has to offer our students and families.
All right. Well, thank you, Rashu. And I want to kind of echo maybe what everybody else has kind of already said, but I want to thank everybody for showing up today and taking the time. And I want to just discuss, how awesome it is that Stark County has an opportunity like this with so many colleges. Being a guy that grew up in Belmont County, we don't, have these types of opportunities. And so now to be an admissions counselor at Walsh and see that things like this are available for students is just amazing. So thank you everybody for being here, and thank you students for being here as well. Just to go into a little bit of background, kind of the quick pitch about Walsh. We are a small school in North Canton, Ohio, with a Catholic background. Obviously that's kind of part of everything we do, but we are a very, very inclusive campus. We always pride ourselves on the fact that we get to play all of our football games at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We're huge about Stark County, really love the area and everything that it has to offer. So we try to be involved in any way we can in making sure that students from Stark County can come at an affordable rate to a private school and leave with a job. And that's why we kind of focus on the whole student. Just a little bit of background about majors, which is the first big thing that students are going to look into when they're looking into a college. You want to make sure it has what you want to study. Our biggest major is nursing. I think that's definitely one that everybody always hears about when they hear about Walsh University, and actually really awesome in the entire Stark area. I think we hear a lot about nursing because we have some great programs, some great hospitals around here. But that's not all we're known for. We actually have over 70 majors and some quick hitters. We have a lot of different business majors. We're known for pre-med, pre-physical therapy, all the way up into actually a doctorate of physical therapy, as well as a master's of occupational therapy, which we're looking to add on to and become a doctorate in. And I think we're just really prepared to help those students go out on a career path and immediately have a job. And I think another thing interesting that I heard mentioned earlier about this current situation, I think Ezra brought it up about some hybrid opportunities. Really cool that we actually got these announced today, and you guys are going to be some of the first to hear it. Even people within our organization maybe haven't heard it yet, but I wanted to bring them out today. Walsh just had about 10 more majors approved, and we're going to be moving forward with them in a hybrid format, such as what Ezra was talking about, where the students will have the opportunity to live on campus, take all of their prereqs and things on campus, as well as some major courses, but also have that crossover for an online opportunity. Works really well for commuters, but it also works really well for students who want to live on campus, but like that online learning aspect that I think that we're all moving into right now. And just to note a couple of those, that we had approved, we actually have a web design approved, a Bachelor of Science in Web Design, game development, so Bachelors of Science in game development, as well as on top of we already have a sports management degree, but we added an esports management degree, which I assume we're now going to tack on an esports team. And so I think we're really moving forward into those new sciences that I think are going to help people make moves moving forward in this digital format that we're starting to all realize is coming to fruition. Data analytics was another one they wanted me to note on there that we did add. And then, just a little bit of background about, obviously, affordability is a big part of college. We know we're a private university. Every student that comes in is offered a merit-based scholarship for their academics between $10,000 to $16,000. Obviously, we have more to offer than that, grant scholarships outside of that, as well as different ways to increase those scholarships based on need or academic prowess. But we try to make sure that nobody pays even close to the sticker price, and we try to stay as affordable as we can for students, so that you can, especially as a commuter, come and afford a private education and the Walsh experience. And then just quickly, I think the last point I'll make is probably our maroon and gold promise that we instituted in kind of another whole student look. The maroon and gold promise is a career promise from Walsh that within 6 months of graduation, you will have a job in your field of choice. So I don't mean a random job. I mean, if you're a nursing major, a nursing job, or if you're a business major in marketing, a marketing entry-level position at least, or you will be in grad school within 6 months. If you do not achieve that, we take that on our shoulders as partially our failure, and we make sure that we hire you a career and college counselor to help you reach those goals. So help you get the right connections to get that job within the next couple months, or make sure that you get into the grad school of your choice. And along with that, just one more piece, we added the a 4-year guarantee that students will graduate within 4 years, or we will cover up, especially for, in the case of commuter students, the full cost of tuition for the 5th year, or as many classes as you have to take within that 5th year to graduate. And you know, I think that's a really big step as well. And on top of that, your tuition will freeze. Once you enter into Walsh University, you won't see any increases on tuition over the 4 years. We just think this is a way to allow students and parents to be able to budget more easily and be prepared to cover that cost. So anyways, thanks again, guys, for listening to me ramble on here a little bit.
Thank you, Griffey. That was, you did not ramble. That was great. Very succinct, and then obviously a great option for our local students as well. We'll keep moving on. Next, I'd like to invite Michael Otto from Stark State. Michael, would love to hear about what Stark State has to offer our students and families. Michael, can you hear us? I think you're muted, Michael. Can you hear us, Michael?
Yep, there we go. Sorry.
It's all good. We're not seeing your video feed yet. Or maybe it's just my computer. Can you hear us? There we go.
Okay. All right. So am I okay now?
Yeah.
Not sure what happened to my connection. Okay. Thanks, everyone. My name is Michael Otto. I'm an enrollment representative at Stark State College. We are actually celebrating our 60th year this year. We are a community college. We have locations in North Canton at their main campus. We have a campus in Akron on Perkins right near downtown. And then we have satellite locations in Alliance, Barberton, and downtown Canton. We serve a variety of roles, I think, with students. Since we are a community college, we offer up to a 2-year associate's degree, and then we also offer 1-year certificate programs and also what are called career enhancement certificate programs. So we have about 230, roughly 230 programs overall. So there is a lot of variety, a lot to choose from. I would say the students that we serve fall into 2 major groups, one being the people that are looking to kind of go into a specialized skill or trade. And I would say the areas that we kind of see that the most in are health, our health programs, our engineering programs, which is a variety of things such as automotive, welding, HVAC, oil and gas, some things that you don't traditionally maybe think about with it when it comes to college. Our IT programs, and also our public service programs, that is like our fire program, our fire academy, our police academy, and also a paramedic program. And then also we do have a culinary program as well. So those are usually, like I said, those are the areas, every area I would say our career community or academic areas have something usually to offer if you are looking to do maybe a shorter time frame, a 2-year or 1 year, and then be able to enter the job market. So that's a lot of what we see with a certain portion of our students. The other portion of our students are going to be the more traditional, maybe going to school, getting credits out of the way, and then going on to a 4-year institution for their bachelor's degree. I usually tell people, you know, it's best to utilize us whatever way you see fit. So if you are looking to just come to us to do, you know, your program and go get a job right away, that's fine. If you are looking to come to us to get credits to then transfer onto a 4-year, we'll work best to utilize your credits and also your time the best of our ability. The big thing with us sometimes when it comes to the people that are doing the bridge into the 4-year program is, you know, if I'm going into this 4-year program, why would I go to the community college first? The reason would be, I mean, I think the paramount reason that we see with most of our students is the cost effectiveness. Our cost per credit hour is roughly about $175. If you do full time, it's a little over $2,000. So the cost effectiveness goes a long way, especially if you have Pell Grant eligibility or scholarship eligibility, which we kind of talked about earlier. That can go a long way with leaving you very little, and so in some cases nothing at all left over that you have to account for either out of pocket or through student loans. Or if you do have to borrow student loans, vastly minimizing what you do have to borrow, which then you can utilize later on down the road. And kind of in that same vein is if certainly all the schools that are on with us today are partner schools with us, as are Ohio State, Toledo, Cincinnati, Franklin, pretty much every major school, college, and university in Ohio. We have various transfer agreements with that we can always assist you if you have questions about how that works, building into those four-year schools in terms of utilizing your credits and everything else. So if you have any questions, need more information, I'll make my information available. And we also, much has been mentioned before, working to accommodate people online as much as possible and working on a hybrid. We all actually offer hybrid classes currently, but expanding what we do offer in that vein. And we also have quite a few programs that are all online based currently as well, and possibly expanding some of those. So thank you for your time. And again, just let me know if you have any questions or need more information.
Thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate your comments. Gary, I don't believe we have any questions at that time. Can you just confirm?
Yes, there was no questions at that time.
Okay, great. And I'm sure, sometimes it takes, as people reflect on the conversations, like we've said, if you think of questions at a later time, all of our college leaders will be providing their contact information. So please do feel free to reach out to them directly. Next up, we'd like to invite from Altman College, Ryan Butcher. Ryan, welcome, sir.
Thanks, Rishu. Yes, my name is Ryan. I'm working admissions at Altman College. I look at my main role as a recruiter working in admissions is to help you make the best decision for yourself. I think it can kind of speak to all the other admissions people here today. We're obviously biased. We want you to attend each of our individual schools, but we want to help you make that best decision so that when you do attend the school of your choosing, you're going to be successful and enjoy your time there. So Altman College is a commuter-only campus that is affiliated with Altman Health Foundation. We're actually one of only 32 schools in the nation that are affiliated with a major healthcare system. So that gives us some unique advantages in regards to just the setting that you're in, because you are going to be assimilated into a hospital setting right from day one, as well as gives us some advantages in regards to the equipment that we have. For many of your clinicals, you're just walking down the hall. There's a covered walkway that connects us to the main hospital facility. Most of our majors are going to be focused on healthcare. We have a bachelor's degree in nursing where you can become a registered nurse. We had a 98% passage rate last year on the nursing licensure exam. That was for students passing on their first attempt. Everyone passed by their second attempt. We also have a bachelor's degree in social work, as well as an associate's in radiography to become a certified radiologic technologist. We have an associate's in health sciences and a certificate in medical assisting. So those are 5 of our programs that for anyone coming out of high school are going to be good options if you're looking at going into a medical related field. Or in regards to social work, you don't have to work in healthcare. You have so many other areas in social services that you can go into once you get that licensed social work. Once you get the social work license. So there's many options that you have. That 6th program we have is an associate's in nursing. We do require that students are at least 4 years removed from high school to pursue that program. So for someone right out of high school, the bachelor's is going to be your best option if you're looking at Altman College. But Altman School has been around in some capacity since 1892. We have a long history and we offering many programs that have, or all of our programs have the full accreditations. A unique thing with our with our programs is that you're not training to work at Altman. It's nice that you have the affiliation with us at Altman Health Foundation. You're going to meet with Altman Human Resources We obviously hope that you enjoy your time at Altman and maybe want to stay and work for the Health Foundation, but you can go work anywhere in the field where a licensed social worker is needed or a nursing license is accepted. So you have so many options. We usually have about 50% of our graduates that are hired by Altman Health Foundation. But I am proud to report that I know the last 2 years with our graduate surveys, 100% of respondents indicated that they had jobs in the field. Just going back to some of the unique equipment that we have, students, as you go through the nursing program or the medical assisting program in particular, you're going to be able to utilize our simulation lab. The simulation lab is where we have mannequins that can talk, bleed, breathe, have bodily functions. We have one that gives birth. So they can simulate any type of scenario you may be dealing with in a nursing situation. It's one of those things where anything, I tell people all the time, I'm sure you're still probably gonna be nervous when you go in to work with a patient for the first time, but anything to help ease that transition. So hopefully you're familiar with the sights and sounds and knowing what to look for so you can react rather than thinking how you're gonna react when you're working with a patient. One of our students told me that when she first started doing her clinical, she was a little nervous going in because especially if the patient was asleep or it was real early in the morning, she was afraid of waking them up. She said that she realized very quickly that she's there to help them. They need this medication. They need this procedure done. And so now she just walks in and just, hey, good morning, time to get up. We gotta get you your medication. So you start to get more comfortable as you go through the training, as you go through the program. With most of your clinicals, you're going to be doing those right down the hall in Altman Health or in Altman Hospital. But Altman's the largest employer in Stark County, and they have different campuses or different facilities all throughout the area. So you do get out to some of those other facilities. It's no more than a 10-mile radius. I know, for instance, with our bachelor's in nursing, usually the first clinical those students do is at Woodlawn, which is a palliative care and hospice care facility in Belton Village. But most of your clinicals will take place right at Altman Hospital. We have our faculty are always available if you wanted to get more information about classes or in particular one of our programs. We also are doing virtual tours where we have a video on YouTube that does a brief tour of our campus. We also have student testimonials. So even though we can't get you onto campus at this time, we hope that you would reach out to us to get more information. I'm available to set up appointments to discuss with you via video conference or phone, anything in regards to our programs. Again, just helping you make that best decision for yourself. In regards to our admissions process, our radiography program is a competitive-based program. We have a February 1st deadline for that program each year. It starts every fall. And even though GPA is very important, we also have an interview process. So thankfully, it's not based solely on GPA. But a unique thing about all of our other programs, in particular with the nursing program and the medical assisting and program, is that it is a direct admission program. So what that means is we do not have wait lists. There are no prerequisites that are needed. As long as you meet the minimum admission criteria, you are in the nursing program or medical assisting program or social work program from day one. So that's a really unique advantage, especially in regards to nursing. Our minimum admission criteria for anyone coming from high school is we're looking for a 3.0 high school GPA. And then we're looking for a minimum score of 20 on the ACT or 1030 on the SAT. But we also are using AccuPlacer scores where we're requiring the reading and the quantitative reasoning, algebra, and stats AccuPlacer tests. You can take AccuPlacer with us through Altman College if you didn't take that at your high school. So we have 3 routes for you to meet that test score. If you don't meet the test score requirement or the GPA requirement, not thinking pessimistically, but if you don't meet both those requirements, we do have, or we can discuss alternative admissions options that can still make it feasible for you to get into the program of your choosing. In particular, our health sciences program, which is designed for people that have an interest in healthcare and you aren't really certain which route you want to go and you just kind of want to explore the field first, is a great option because we also use it as a placeholder for someone where you can start in with health sciences, take some of the beginning classes for nursing, for instance, or radiography, and then switch to that program once you establish a GPA at Altman College. So there are other routes for you to be able to get into the school, but as long as you have those minimum admission criteria, you're in the program from day one. So, if you have any questions after today, again, my name is Ryan. Easiest email to reach us at is recruiter@altmancollege.edu. And I'll respond with any questions. I also would encourage you, because I know that many of you may be thinking of changing your plans from what you had decided for fall. Please reach out to any of the schools that you're looking at. Reach out to the admissions counselors. Like I said, we want to help you make certain you're making that best choice for yourself. I worked as an academic advisor for many years before moving over to admissions. So I'm always happy to help you decide what route you want to go. Whether that is changing what school you're planning to go to in the fall to maybe stay in this area now. If you're looking at taking some time off, if you're unsure if you want to start at a community college or go to a full university, thankfully within Stark County, you have all these options available to you. So take advantage of those resources and seek out those questions so you can make that best decision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. And I know a few questions have come in. Why don't we let our last team speak, and then we will just go into our Q&A. So last, certainly not the least, is our team from Kent State at Stark. Sarah and Ben would like to share some of Sarah as a student, and Ben is on the faculty administrative and so we'd love to hear about what Kent State at Stark has to offer our local families.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. My name is Sarah Hedit, and I am a senior in the Communication Studies program here at Kent Stark. And I'm just super excited to get to share a little bit about, my student experience here and some of the perks of, choosing local. For me, cost was a huge factor in why I chose Kent Stark in the first place. I really didn't want to go into debt, and I still don't. And if at some point I have to, I want it to be as minimal as possible. And Kent Stark really does afford that opportunity for students. Our tuition here is pretty low. For our incoming freshmen, it's about $6,300, my bad, for your first 2 years, and about $28,000 for your full 4 years. So both of those numbers are very doable in terms of college tuition prices. And on top of that is the fact that we do have a bunch of scholarships available for students, both through Kent Stark and through external sources that were talked about earlier. I know personally I've been able to take advantage of both. I've gotten some through Kent Stark, and I've gotten some, one from my high school. I got one from a bank that I didn't even bank at. So there's a lot of opportunities for students to be able to get that number down lower. And Kent Stark is a commuter campus, which means we don't have dorms, so you don't have to pay room and board. So that saves a lot of money as well. But if that is something that you're interested in, that more traditional experience, there are a bunch of apartments all around North Canton. And we do have an agreement with Malone, so students can dorm there and still come here. So that's an awesome opportunity as well. Choosing local and coming to Kent Stark is not going to jeopardize a quality education either. I think a stereotype is that a lot of students want to go to these big colleges because they seem very prestigious. But being at Kent Stark, you still have that similar experience. I know one of our old admissions counselors used to joke that most of our professors on campus have the same first name, and that's Doctor. And it's very true. About 90% of our full-time faculty here do have either their doctorates or the highest degree in their field. So we have some super well-educated professors that give students a lot of awesome opportunities. I know personally, I did a project a few semesters back that my professor recommended to be put in our campus magazine. So it's currently in that process of being considered. For a different class, we wrote letters to a man named Bob Chapman, who is the CEO of Barry Waymiller. He's really well known for his people-centric culture idea. And so we wrote letters to him, and parts of our letters were actually mentioned in a podcast of his. So there are a lot of awesome educational experiences that you can be a part of as well. Also going with, choosing local and staying at Stark, it doesn't jeopardize your college experience either. I think that's another thing that students are really concerned about. They want to have that traditional experience. And I know when I first started at Kent Stark, I was a College Credit Plus student. So I just went, to class and went home because that was all that I wanted to do. But then soon later, I got my first campus job and loved it so much that I got 2 more campus jobs. So I'm currently at 3, and I just absolutely love the experience of being able to interact with so many faculty and staff and students. I just think it's a really rewarding experience, and to be able to have that sense of community and belonging, I think it's really important for college students. But there's plenty of ways to get involved outside of student employment as well. I love our homecoming week on campus. I love going to our Kent Tiki, which is our Hawaiian themed party in the spring. I actually won a TV at that, so that's pretty awesome. So there's just a lot of different ways to get involved on campus. So yes, we are local, but that doesn't mean you still can't get involved and make that experience that more traditional one. And lastly, in terms of choosing local and everything, I feel like, you know, choosing local is you get to decide and to choose to have a support system in your own backyard. The faculty and staff here at Kent Stark really are some of the best. I absolutely love all the faculty and staff I've got to interact with, and they really do have the students' best interests in mind and will go out of their way to help them. I've seen this in so many different ways, and if time permitted, I could go into those. But just knowing that there are so many people here that are having, your best interest in mind is huge. A few semesters back, I took a class with Dr. Dillon, and he talked to us about a man named Adam Grant, who's an author. And one of the quotes that he said was that, we need to surround ourselves with people who are actively plotting our success. And I think that's exactly what the faculty and staff, and even the students here at Kent Stark are doing, is that they're always have your back and they're always there to help you along with the process. So that's kind of just my take on Kent Stark as a student side. And I hope that that was helpful and that you guys do consider. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us here at Kent Stark. I know, me for a student's perspective, and Ben Siglow's with us, and he's one of our super awesome admissions counselors here, so we can answer any of those questions if they arise.
And then just real quickly to finish us off, that was great information. I want to add that I actually head up the tours for our campus. And if students are interested in having a one-on-one with admissions counselor or getting a view of our campus, even if it's not necessarily on the campus, I'm here to facilitate all of that. Go into any of our 20 degrees or talk about what it's like to be in any of those programs. All of these schools are different and all have great things to add for students and for their success. So the only big thing I want to push to the end of this is it is strange out there. So please apply to as many schools as you can think of, apply to as many scholarships as you can think of. So that way you're making the decision that's best for you, not just because of how many schools or scholarships you applied to. And thank you so much for giving us the time to do this.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I just want to really, really appreciate all of our speakers. And our colleges, they collaborate, they compete for our best minds locally. And so we so appreciate that Smart Stark is this platform where all of our great colleges and higher educational institutions are really coming together for a collective purpose. Can't thank you, and certainly want to extend the thank to the presidents and the leaders of each one of your institutions. With that, Gary, I'll turn it to you. I know we have a few questions that came in as well.
We did have one question for Stark State. If you could maybe go into detail on the IT majors that are offered at Stark State.
Sure. So we offer kind of two areas in IT. I kind of call like the more nuts and bolts programming. So we like computer science and engineering, web design and development, cybersecurity, video game design, and what like geographic information systems, which is kind of a new mapping technology that a lot of governments and companies use that we're kind of trying to push people as kind of emerging technology. And then if you're kind of more the creative end of things, we have a digital media programs that we offer, such as digital video and media, the music production and engineering, 3D graphic motions technology, and also digital photography. So any number of those, we can always, kind of find out what particular, if you're looking for a particular area. Obviously with IT, it can sometimes be a little hard if you're not too familiar with it to kind of identify what your specific area you're looking to go into. So we can always, if not us, then we can certainly work with the department to kind of match your interest or skill set with what we offer as well.
Thank you. Got a request here. If we could, please maybe elaborate on college athletics and students coming into your school, an athlete that wants to compete. What's the process for a high school student as they look to compete at the next level? We can, if you want to go, Griffey, that's fine.
Oh yeah, no, I'm happy to go ahead and start. So I guess especially speaking from, and I think Malone would kind of come from the same standpoint, and Mount probably would as well, although we're a different division. But I'm gonna speak from a Division II standpoint. But this probably works for every one of the schools that have an athletic program. I think the first step is always going to be find coach contact information, which we can pass on to you. I'm sure anybody involved here could pass on to you. From an admissions perspective, we have a hold of every coach's contact information. If you go ahead and reach out to them, I think that's a great first step because it shows the initiative that you're interested. A big thing too is always having, they have online. We've been talking all day about online, but making sure that you have your huddle accounts or different things online where you can share video and things, especially right now. To make sure that these coaches can see you and see that you perform athletically. And especially if you're looking, especially at a D2 level, if you're looking for a scholarship, that's going to be especially important because, at a D2 level, you kind of have to, at some points, coaches are putting their money where their mouth is, right? So, you kind of have to make sure that coaches can see at what level you can produce athletically. Also, you have to make sure that you can keep those grades up because the biggest thing is the eligibility aspect from the NCAA standpoint, whether that's D1 to D3, and it actually gets harder as you go down D2 and D3 because there's more focus on the academics. Just make sure that you have your grades in place and you can make it through that NCAA clearinghouse, and coaches can have you on the team. And like I said, I think the moral of all of it, and if anybody else wants to add on, just make sure you're visible. You have to be visible to these coaches. There's so many student athletes out there, and it's not that you're not good, it's that there's too many people to look at. So make yourself visible.
Thank you, Griffey. Is there anyone else that wants to expand on student athletes?
I'll say, go ahead, Ezra. Go ahead.
I just jump in there real quick. Malone is also Division II, and there's two quick things. First, definitely fill out an athletic questionnaire, just so the coaches are like, oh wow, this student, like Griffey was saying, we don't necessarily know, even if you're playing for Hoover, you're playing local, that you're necessarily looking to play in college. That's never necessarily an assumption we make. So get on our radar that way. And then two, be accessible. Our coaches have been doing a ton of Skype, Google Hangouts, getting connected with the team just to see, hey, is this an overall good fit for the team athletically and culturally? So definitely get on the radar, fill those out. And I think every one of us that offers athletics does have some sort of inquiry on our athletics landing page. So.
The only other thing I was going to add, and this is something that I learned from my experience as a student athlete in college, and then I coached at Mount Union before I took this role, and something that I share with all student athletes, no matter what level you play at, whether that be Division I, Division II, Division III, NCAA, NAIA, JUCO, wherever you end up, understand the different experiences that are available to you as a student athlete. I think for every college in the room that has athletics, because we're smaller, there's a unique advantage in that those student athletes get to have a really eclectic experience. So in my case, I didn't attend Mount Union, but I attended a very small private institution. So I was able to be a student athlete and have a job and have an internship, be in a sorority, be in Spanish club. I was able to be a student athlete and a variety of other things. And I think that's a really unique advantage that small institutions that have athletics can offer you. So don't just blow by them maybe because your scholarship offer might be non-existent or even smaller than what you might want of that Division I glory. There is unique advantages to each student athlete experience, depending on what that might be.
Absolutely, thank you.
Gary, there's one additional question that popped up on our Zoom chat line. I'll just read that.
Okay.
Can the schools talk a little bit about what's going to happen in the fall semester? Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty, but the students are wondering, our graduating seniors are wondering, what lays ahead for them. And obviously, it's uncertain for everyone. But if some of the leaders could share what your college/university's plans are for the fall semester and what can the students expect, that would be tremendously helpful.
I'm happy to start if that's okay.
Please.
So the big thing to remember is all the schools right now are already being trained on having remote coursework. Already Kent State Stark is set up for the summer courses, for the first 2 sections of our summer courses to be done remotely. And we have online courses and we've had online courses. So yes, this will be a transition, and yes, this will be kind of what happens with the most recent news and with the kind of slowly opening. Part of this is going to be what's happening in the future, but there is support systems so that no matter what the decision is, there will be something that allows you to get the courses you need to stay on track to graduate through these accredited universities. I don't know specifically what the exact structure is for other schools, but I do know that no matter what, it's not that we canceled our summer courses. They are going to be taught in a remote fashion alongside our online classes, and that is set up for the fall if that is needed, as well as the reserving of rooms and the overall scheduling for in-class appearances as well. If this happens as either a truly remote, as a partial remote where you do some inside class, some outside, or an actual in-person, it really kind of depends on the environment, but all the things are set up that all 3 of those are an option.
Yeah, and if I could add on, because I think Ben covered it really well there. The only thing I would throw in, only because we're from an on-campus a standpoint, and that can change a lot for students whether or not they can live on campus. Just keep your eyes open for what each school is doing, because I think the heart of what Ben was saying is we really have to play this on both sides right now. It's really impossible for us to know at the moment. You've realized how quickly things have changed in Ohio, and then how quickly they changed back, and how literally over the summer they could change back again and then change back a third time, So it really makes it hard for us. I think it is important from our standpoint that we know we're putting everything in place to do what Ben said and be online if we have to be, but also we are fully prepared to bring students back as long as Ohio says it is fit to happen. So in other words, we're not making a call based on what Walsh believes, because we want our students on campus, even though we're smart enough to know it may not always work out exactly how we want. We want our students on campus. I think I speak for all schools when we're not making the call. We're going to go off of what Ohio tells us to do, what Governor DeWine suggests. And until that suggestion is made, we can't do anything other than, like Ben said, prepare for online if we have to, which we are doing, but also prepare our campuses to have you on campus in the fall, if Ohio says that's okay, so that we can have proper, social distancing measures if that's required, or partial in course, like courses in person and partial online, or whatever it might be. I just think the most important thing for all parents and students to remember right now is it's just as hard for us as it is for you to know. And if we knew anything, we will tell you immediately when we know, and you'll probably hear when we do, whether or not we're allowed to have you and your student on campus, but we're hopeful that we will.
Likewise, at Malone, we take significant guidance from the Department of Education here in Ohio, and then also the governor's office. Currently, our coronavirus task force at Malone is working through plans to have a full campus opening in the fall. But like Griffey said, everything's up in the air and subject to change, how things kind of progress. But taking pertinent guidelines as far as the safety measures, single rooms whenever available, giving students the ability to commute if they'd like, and so forth. So it really is kind of a play it by ear, but also plan for the best and hope for the best, but then also have that flexibility to then, if need be, operate from that remote platform. So.
Anyone else? Any other thoughts?
I would just like to add that at Altman College, we're kind of in a unique position in the sense that we're sort of on the front lines for both the education side and healthcare side. So we actually get updates from the hospital as well as from the Board of Education. So as of right now, all of our summer classes have been set up online, but we have, with a healthcare focus, we have many of our programs that have clinicals. And so we are working on whether that's having clinicals online, looking at doing any sort of virtual type of simulations, or trying to either front load or back load the clinical experiences during the semester. So I think right now, the only thing I feel safe to say is that the fall semester is probably not going to look how it has the last couple, or in the past. And so I know I'm sure all other colleges are making plans regardless, or so we can adapt to whatever policies are in place. But as of right now, as Ezra mentioned, we're also we're planning to hopefully start in the fall back on campus, but safety is a priority. And so we're going to make certain that it's safe before anyone can return to the campus, and that, but we still want to make certain that you're able to learn the materials so you can be successful in your program.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone. We're so appreciative of everyone's thoughts that you've shared today. If you haven't done so already, college leaders, please go ahead and enter in your email ID on the Facebook site. That way, if there are students, parents, adults who are thinking of going back and pursuing additional education, then they'll know how to get a hold of you. As we wrap this up, I just want to share with our audience one or 2 points. First is, please do take a moment to fill out the survey. Let us know, what did you think of today's event? Was it helpful? Let's see, hopefully this is working. Perfect. So you can enter in that, you can take a picture of that, the QR code, or you can go to that site and give us your feedback. We sincerely appreciate any comments and thoughts you have, anything we can do to make this information session more impactful. And then as we wrap up, I did want to highlight our class of 2020. These are extremely trying times, and we empathize with the families and the students. You know, graduation is a big part of a person's life, and so this is putting all of us in a whirlwind. We appreciate your tenacity, your resilience. Know that we're here to provide support in the best manner that we can. Wanted to share with you a handful of things that we are doing. If you haven't had a chance to visit the link that's mentioned on there, www.strengtheningstark-means-jobs. It's a great platform to give you real-time view to what local job opportunities look like. And I'll just quickly share with you one picture, which here, I know we talked a lot about healthcare today, and I just wanted to highlight there's a section on the site. Can someone give me a thumbs up? Can you see my screen with the jobs? Yeah, perfect. So one of the things we just wanted to highlight is there's a section on here that says local career ladders. So for example, for whichever career ladder you're most interested in, you can, or whichever industry you're most interested in, you can look and see where the local jobs are, what that picture looks like. And I know we talked a lot about healthcare. So for example, in healthcare, we can see where there's going to be big clusters of jobs. This is a really great tool for you to understand what some good entry-level positions may be and how you can move your way up to potentially better jobs. So that's one platform that we wanted you to be aware of. Some of our partners are also working on some specific upskilling opportunities. Just to give you an example, Stark States put a platform together with low or no cost opportunities to earn credentials and certifications, and I know many of the other partners are doing that as well. So there's some great resources. You can contact any of the leaders that have given you their email address, or you can certainly contact us at Strengthening Stark. We'll be happy to make connections for you. So with that, we will bring our discussion to a close. Based on the success and the feedback that we get from our participants today, as a next step, we'll be laying out the pathway of the frequency at which we'll be holding these sessions. So please look for that information. We'll be posting it on our social media sites soon. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Thank you, everyone.